I forgot to grab one of my books. Please hold. Okay. What the fuck ever. Hey everybody, my name is Sam. Welcome back to my channel, and today I am going to be doing a second recommendations video for the Tome Infinity and Beyond Readathon, which I'm going to be hosting in September. It's going to be starting on September 7th, runs through the 21st. I'm going to link all the information and the creators and the co-hosts and all that shit down in the description. On Friday, I posted a suggestions video that was made up entirely of vintage science fiction books because those are my favorites and because I figured that those would be the ones that people maybe wouldn't really know where to start. But I did say in that video that I would be willing to make a second recommendations video with some more modern books, and so that is what I am doing here today. Going to be really good. I don't have these in any particular order. I just have a stack of books here and I'm just going to grab them and let you know what prompts they fit and maybe tell you a little bit about them. Most of the books that are on this list I've talked about on my channel at least once before, so if you've watched my other videos, you've probably heard of these. So let's just get started. Alright, first I have Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This is just volume 1. Realistically, you could read any volume. This is a science fiction story basically about star-crossed lovers trying to make their way through the universe. This is a great option for the Venus challenge, which is to read a book with a strong female main character. This is a good option for Mercury, which is to read a book under 250 pages. This is a great option for Mars because it is a book featuring aliens. It's a great option for Neptune because it is a science fiction featuring fantasy elements, as there are elements of magic scattered throughout this. And this is also a really good option for the Asteroid Belt, which is to read a space opera adventure. So, you know, you could fit this bad boy in to a lot of different little boxes, so that's always exciting. Next on my list, I actually have another comic series by Brian K. Vaughan, and that is Paper Girls. This is a science fiction time travel coming of age story about 4 12-year-old girls who are just trying to do their job and deliver newspapers, and then shit goes awry. And this is a great option for Venus, which is a strong female main character because there are 4 of them. Great option for Mercury, as most graphic novels are, because it is under 250 pages. This is a good option for Mars because there are some aliens in this. And a great option for Uranus because these characters are like little snarky sassholes who are always cracking jokes, and so there is some comic relief in this. Next, another comic series by Brian K. Vaughan. I should probably do that one just for fun. And that is Y the Last Man. That's a story about like an event that takes place on Earth that somehow eliminates every being with a Y chromosome except for one man and his pet monkey. So that is a comic series where each volume has many, many bold female characters, so it's a great option for the Venus challenge. It's a good option for the Mercury challenge because it's under 250 pages. And it would also be a good option for Uranus because of the fact that this one male character tends to get himself into some pretty comical situations just by virtue of being the only person of his gender on the planet. Well, of his sex on the planet. Alright, next I have yet another comic series, because I have a lot of those, and none of you will be surprised. I'm going to recommend Descender by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. I told you guys I was going to mention it in every video until you all read it, and that's probably true. This one's great. It's a science fiction story about this little robo-man named Tim, and he's living in a universe where robots and all artificial intelligence have been outlawed, and he is one of the only remaining AIs. Actually, this fits a ton of challenges. This is really good for the asteroid belts because it is a space opera adventure, It's really good for Venus because there are a couple of different really bold female characters in this. It's really good for Mercury because, again, it's under 250 pages. Great for Mars because there are aliens scattered throughout. This is a good option for Saturn because, as you can see, for volume 1 at least, there are circles on the cover. And this is a good option for Jupiter because some of the robots in flashbacks are very, very large and could in fact be considered giants. So this guy fits many challenges and you should all read it. Next I have a non-comic, so you can get a break from my comics for a second, and that is Armada by Ernest Cline. This is a story about a teenager who gets recruited to basically defend the Earth against a race of aliens. This fits several challenges because it is a space opera adventure, so it fits for the asteroid belt. There are aliens in it, so it works for Mars, and just due to Ernest Cline's writing style in general, there are quite a few funny moments, and so it works for Uranus as well. Next, it was only a short reprieve, we have another comic, and that is Angel Catbird by Margaret Atwood with art by Johnny Christmas. This is a very weird story. It's a superhero story, kind of, but as is the case with many superheroes, the reason that our main character becomes what he is because of science gone horribly wrong. And so it's about a genetic engineer whose DNA gets spliced with a cat and an owl, and he becomes Angel Catbird. This is good for, sorry, I have a list if I keep looking down, so, sorry about that. But this is good for Venus because there are a couple of different really good bold female characters, and it's good for Mercury because it is under 250 pages. Next, I have Wicked by Gregory Maguire, and this is technically a political fantasy book, but this is really good for the Neptune Challenge, which is a science fiction book with fantasy elements, or vice versa. There's definitely elements of science fiction in this fantasy story. And it's also good for, of course, Venus because it is featuring several bold female characters. Oh, and also for Saturn because there are circles on the cover. Then I have a book you've all heard about from me, and that is Futuristic Violence and Fancy Suits by David Wong. This is great for the Venus Challenge as it features a strong female main character, and this is great for Uranus because this book is like almost all comic relief. And then I have another book that is technically a fantasy, so that is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. This is another one that's really good for Neptune. Our main characters are all professors, and there's a lot of studies being conducted in this to determine the genetic differences between witches and vampires and demons and regular humans. Like, what is it that makes them different? Then we have Red Shirts by John Scalzi, which is a really bizarre book, but I did enjoy reading it. It takes the kind of the trope of the security officers on the Star Trek original series who wear the red shirts, always dying on away missions. It takes that trope and kind of flips it in a way that is really unusual and really entertaining. It works well for the asteroid belt because it is a space opera story. It works for Mars because there are aliens, and it works for Uranus because it's written in such a way that there's a lot of comedy scattered throughout. Next I have Hyperion by Dan Simmons, which is sort of a science fiction reimagining of the Canterbury Tales, which sounds really weird, and it is really weird, but it does fit several challenges for this readathon. It is a space opera adventure, so it works for the asteroid belt. It features one very, very giant creature, so it works for Jupiter for a book featuring giants, and it works sort of for Venus because there is one female main character, and I do believe that she is intended to be a bold, strong female character, but I personally did not care for the way that that character was written. So that's kind of a call you have to make on your own. This is one that I'm somewhat more tentatively recommending because I do think it holds a lot of merit as a science fiction story, but it did have its issues. And then I have Battle Royale by Kushun Takami, which is about children sent to an island, given weapons, and told to kill each other. And it works for this challenge because it is a book that is over 500 pages, so you can read it if you're on ship A. And there are a few strong female characters who play a major role, and they're strong in different ways. So it also, I think, works for the Venus challenge. So those are some of my more modern recommendations for science fiction books for the Tome Infinity and Beyond Readathon. Have a great day. Bye.